If you've played Blueprints, you know that luck is part of your journey. Sometimes doors are locked, or you can't seem to draft a certain room. But the truth is, luck just isn't really that big of a deal. This video is for the folks who gave up on Blueprints too quickly to really learn the game. So let's go over some spoiler-free ways to play around RNG. I do have one spoiler moment too that I've tagged, and you can skip it as well. So let's just start off with two true statements. And in parlor room fashion, let's throw in a false statement too. Luck is an obstacle for the skilled to overcome. Practice makes skill. Scoutmaster Demi has a shrill voice. Luck can get in your way, but skillful players consider RNG when building their house. And the only way to get better is to practice. Look, Blueprints is a challenging game. There just isn't anything like it. Learning to tame this unwieldy mansion is the first major puzzle. So if you feel unintelligent when you're drafting rooms, just remember that no one started this journey with a strong understanding of how to play the game. But between you and me, I'd rather you feel unintelligent when drafting than belligerent. I've seen so many user reviews that make me sad, but I'll leave my thoughts to Northern Lion.
You have to grow up a little bit to play Blueprints. You can't lose Blueprints. So the number of people who are saying, like, I lost my run because I didn't get what I needed, that is what pisses me off. What do you mean you lost? You're still alive. End your day, go again tomorrow. Even if you can't solve the one puzzle you were trying to solve, there's 1,000 puzzles that are resting unsolved that you could walk around and like try to solve.
People are so quick to blame the game when their issue is their own skill, their drafting choices. Now, to give them credit, it is hard to tell when you have a skill issue, and that's because most people don't get feedback. They play by themselves, so they aren't debating room choices, or they aren't considering how risky a drafting choice might be. Taking risks is a good thing, but you have to be prepared to deal with the consequence if it backfires. Feedback is a valuable resource, and these players are certainly not getting feedback from the game. Blueprints does not hold your hand, nor does it applaud you for doing well. But you can always try again. Just like Northern Lion said, you can't really die or lose in Blueprints, so don't compare yourself to other people. Take it slow. That's the first step to gaining skills at Blueprints. Okay, now let's talk about locked doors. The more north you go, the more likely it is that the rooms there are locked. Around rank 6, you should start to assume that everything is locked. The most important thing here is to make sure that your keys get a lot of value. You don't have infinite of them. If you have to open a door, make sure that it leads you on a path that can open up many more rooms. I'd rather spend a key on rank 4 than I would on rank 8 because the rooms around rank 4 aren't likely to require more keys. Let's paint a picture. Say you just start a day by going north as far as you can. These rooms will surely continue to be locked. That means that spending one key here will only get you 1 or 2 extra rooms. That's why it's really important to farm your resources in those unlocked areas down below, and then you can spend your keys as you move north. Doing this will take a lot of luck out of the equation. But what about those northern areas that are extremely locked? How can anyone possibly unlock them all? Well, there is a few ways to play around this. The first is to just get a bunch of keys. You can purchase them, or you can find them, especially if you have a metal detector or a shovel. The lockpick is really awesome, as this one item can potentially open you many doors. I've heard that the more you use a lockpick, the better your chances of unlocking becomes. Like, Simon has a secret lockpicking stat that increases the more you play the game, but I haven't actually confirmed this. The second tip here is to take advantage of security doors. These can't be opened by regular keys, but if you have a key card, you can open them without any limit, kind of like the lockpick in this case. The key card can often be found by solving the billiard room puzzle, but even if you don't have that item, you can still bypass security doors. The two rooms that you'll need here are the utility closet and the security room. Flip off the card key system, then use the computer to make offline security doors unlocked. While you're at it, you should also increase the rate of security doors showing up, as these are again essentially free doors. They don't require any additional investment. Of course, you should also increase the rate if you have a card key too, and likewise, if you have no clear way of doing any of the security door stuff, you should lower the rate of security doors. Remember, you can always increase the odds odds again by backtracking to a computer once you've assembled the combo with utility closet or once you've found a card key. The third way to open doors is arguably the most spicy. It does indeed involve some minor spoilers in my opinion, but still I put timestamps down below to skip ahead if you'd rather not know. So the shelter is an outside room with a special computer. If the radiation of Mount Holly reaches a certain point, it initiates an emergency protocol that unlocks every door. So how do you increase radiation? By successfully triggering your laboratory experiment throughout a day. I don't know the exact threshold, but I believe 5 successful experiments will unlock every door. What's cool about this trick is that even though it requires 2 specific rooms, one of which is only on the outside, you can access this combo easily if you have the Black Bridge Grotto upgrade. This permanent improvement lets you access any one computer each day, even if you haven't drafted that room. So to put it plainly, there's a computer inside of 4 rooms: the shelter, security, laboratory, and the office. And each of these computers have a different effect, as you know. If you enter any one of these rooms, you can get any other one of them for free. The best and most common use of the Black Bridge Grotto is to start your experiments very early in a day, especially from the shelter, since you know you can use the radiation protocols. But on the other hand, if you draft a laboratory with an easy experiment, you can then access the shelter's radiation protocols, even if your outside room is something totally different, like a tomb. Very cool. Okay, I'm done with spoilers and locked doors, but what about drafting specific rooms? Well, here's a few ways to make that happen. First, you should prioritize building the biggest house possible. This is rule number 1. More rooms mean more opportunities. Not only will you gain more resources, but you'll also remove those rooms from your drafting pool for the day. That makes it more likely to find rare rooms or the one that you're hunting particularly for. The second way is to take advantage of rerolls. Ivory dice are an item that let you shuffle the 3 options. They aren't the easiest to get, which shows you how valuable this is. The drawing room is cool too. When you build from it, you can shuffle the options once for free. If you wait until late in the day for your drafting room, those rerolls might lead to some pretty great options. There's also the study. If you draft this uncommon room, you can reroll anytime, any place, all at the cost of 1 gem. It's definitely not free, but it might be worth it if you're laser focused on a specific room. Finally, there's the secret passageway. You're guaranteed a room of the color that you pick, so if you've already drafted a lot of those options, you're very likely to find something rare. So let's say you've drafted many purple bedrooms in a day. If you use the secret passageway and choose the purple book, you are extremely likely to find a rare bedroom. When in doubt, draft a room that you've never seen. You never know what you might gain or what you might learn. I've said this already, but again, Blueprints is a hard game. There's a vocal minority out there that whines about RNG, but I hope this video reminds you that drafting is a skill and that you can only get better. Blueprints is a puzzle box that unfolds itself in different ways to different people, so keep at it and don't compare yourself to others. As always, let me know what other tips you'd like to hear about. I'm Scoutmaster Demi. See you around the camp.